Hey everybody, this is Joey with the Noble Steady Sports Talk, sort of sports talk. Um, kind of starting this a little bit different today, as all of you should know, unless you've lived under a rock. Yesterday at 3 a.m., some crazed maniac decided that his problems are what needs to take the forefront in the world. Um, he drove a pickup truck down Bourbon Street during a very crowded time and decided to mow people over with his truck, killing 14 of them. He was then shot by NOPD when he crashed his truck into a boom lift, got out, went to shoot people, and was stopped by NOPD. Uh, those 14 people were just going and trying to enjoy their lives, celebrate the new year, some even trying to celebrate the Sugar Bowl, which had to be postponed. Um, I speak for Tyler and Shane when I say that we are both heartbroken at the loss of life and the injuries. We are very angry for the city that we love, the city that we call home. But we know that this city is very resilient and we can get through this. As of recording, they're getting ready to kick off the All-State Sugar Bowl in the Superdome. So we just want to let everybody know that our thoughts, our prayers are with everybody that was affected by this tragedy. And we want to just have a moment of silence for those lost. Thank you.
What is up and how's it going? Broseph, thank you so much for that great tribute. Yes, all of us over here at the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk want to send out our heartfelt condolences and prayers to the people and families that are involved in this undescribable tragedy. Like I said, Joey, thank you again for that great tribute. But we're going to keep mowing along. We're going to be resilient. We're going to talk sports, try to distract ourselves a little bit. And today we're going to do a little review of the college football playoffs so far. And just try to escape this crazy world that seems to be in today. But Joseph, other than that, everything you've covered, how are you doing today, buddy?
Doing all right. Ready for a nice little break from home. Going out
You
of
got some
town for a
travel
couple
plans,
days.
bro.
Yeah, so I know we wanted to try to get some stuff. We got some stuff coming up with the show. A couple extra shows that we want to do. Try to give as much content as we can just to, see what you like, see what you think is, as the viewers, what's going to be your favorite, because honestly that's what we want to do. We want to give you what you want. We don't want to just do what we want and call it a day. But yeah, just kind of a mental break and kick back into gear on Tuesday.
Well, I'm glad you said something, Joey. Since you said something,
I can't say where I'm going or what I'm doing in case the person or people that are involved hear it. It's a surprise.
We will keep it under wraps right now.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, since you said it, I will go ahead and announce it. We are launching another show. As you know, we already got our Against the Spreads, our regular Noble Steady recap show. We're going to be launching Fantasy 365 as part of the Noble Steady umbrella. And what that's going to entail is all your fantasy needs. We're going to be covering Dynasty Fantasy Football, draft, the NFL Rookie Draft, redraft formats, keeper formats. We're launching this. We're really excited about it. First episode will be recorded this weekend, actually. Unfortunately, Joey won't be able to join us because he's going out of town, but his picks will definitely be there. I'm looking forward to some of those wild card picks. The show doc just went out for it. And yeah, it's an exciting time. Also, drop us a like, drop us a comment on what you want to see. Look, if you want to see us cover highlight, we'll cover highlight. I just got to figure out how to watch it. But we're here for y'all, like Joey said. We want y'all to enjoy the show. We're here to entertain y'all. And that's it. And Joey, with that being said, let's jump right into it, buddy. The college football playoff is.
I was going to say before we get into the college football playoff, that pull-up highlight, that is something I don't watch. Y'all make fun of me for watching weird sports. I do not watch highlights. So y'all found the one. I'm sure I'd find a way to watch it, though, if I could.
Look, from what I've heard, that ball flies at like 200 miles an hour. So that's wild.
Did you get that from that Jackass episode where they stood at the end of the wall? Yeah, okay.
Yes. As every person that doesn't watch highlight got that information from.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So is there anything else you want to talk about before the college football playoff?
To the playoff.
To the playoff. Let's go. So let's just cover the first round. The first round was a little rough. There's a lot of lopsided victories there, especially for the home teams, I will say. Notre Dame took care of business. Penn State really took care of business. Ohio State took care of business. And then Texas took care of business.
I think the one thing that we can talk about with that first round, honestly, and I cut you off for a reason.
No, you're good. You're good.
People were asking, were complaining that, Alabama should have been in over SMU and all that.
Different discussion.
I'm sorry. Alabama lost to Michigan. Do they still belong in the college football playoff? If they would have taken care of business, you'd have a more of an argument. But in my mind, in my humble opinion, the 12 teams that made the playoff deserve to be in the playoff for their entire schedule, including the fact that SMU lost close in the conference championship game.
Yeah.
And, you and I have had discussions off air. We've talked about it on this show that, yes, Alabama has a tougher conference schedule. But what honestly, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is you lost to an unranked Oklahoma.
Well, that was it.
You didn't make your conference championship, and SMU did and lost by a field goal. So, that discussion is no longer like I'm not entertaining that discussion anymore. These are the 12 teams. Given that, yes, every game so far pretty much has been a blowout. This hasn't been what we originally thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be a little more exciting, a little closer and all that. But I mean, this could happen. This could have happened with the 14 playoff. This could have happened in this format. And I think down the road, they want to do a 14-team playoff. So it could happen then. So
it's going to happen. Yeah. I think everybody just needs to kind of realize that realistically, there's only about 6 to 8 teams, I would say, and I feel like I'm being generous, that can make that claim to being the best college football team in the nation. And look, sometimes teams get cannibalized by their conferences. I mean, you look at the SEC, you look at the Big Ten. Those are the best conferences, so you're going to naturally have some losses that occur in those. It's just a great conference. That's why it does need to be weighted. If you are like a 2-loss team, maybe you do jump a 1-loss team. That's scenario I'm talking about. But with SMU, it was a little bit different. Like we've discussed before, they would basically be penalized for losing their conference championship game in a week where Alabama wouldn't play. So that's where it gets a little tricky and a little different, where it's not really kind of apples to apples comparison, right? But I do agree with you. If they would have got blown out in that conference championship game, they wouldn't be in the playoff.
Yeah, but I think that's where you'd have your argument.
The one thing I do want to touch on is it was very, very cool and interesting. And I don't use the word cool just because it was cold in most of these sites. But I will say it was interesting to see Tennessee go to Ohio State, right? Especially with the amount of Tennessee fans they had. Texas play Clemson. That's the games that you're getting, right? Those are the games that would normally be meaningless, like more just for pride bowl games. Now you're getting these as meaningful playoff games, which I like. Who doesn't like better football, right? Yeah. So, and like you said, unfortunately, they have not been close games. They have been lopsided. Look, it's just going to happen. Naturally going to happen. I mean, look with the year 2019 when LSU beat the brakes off of Oklahoma, and that was a 14 playoff. It's just naturally going to happen. Teams are just better than other teams, and the matchups just sometimes are just not in their favor. Now, I will say, I want to talk about Penn State real quick. I said it on the first show. I really feel like they got the easiest path to the college football playoff. I mean, to the finals, right? Mm-hmm. You look at it this way. SMU beat SMU. SMU was playing in Penn State when it was like 30 degrees or lower. It was going to be a hard matchup regardless for them. Then they get Boise State, which just blatantly showed how Boise State was just overmatched with that defensive line. Penn State's a good team. Now you're possibly talking about them playing Notre Dame, who May gave them a good game. Like, it should be a better game in theory, right? But I don't know if they beat them. And then you got Georgia, who doesn't have their starting quarterback, who's playing a backup. So you're talking about them playing two, I don't want to call them mid-majors because they're not mid-majors anymore, but SMU's in the ACC. But anyway, you know what I mean? But
non-traditional
yes.
power, like let's call it the Cinderellas.
Yes. Yeah, I thank you. Thank you for that. Playing the Cinderellas and then not having to play a big team till the semifinals where they may get a team that doesn't have their quarterback. Hats off to them. If they're going to do it, it's got to be this year, right? Like,
yeah, they got to hope. They got to hope they don't run into. I mean, it depends on what Texas shows up, and then it depends on what Ohio State shows up. They got to hope that they just run into the worst of the two.
I want to get to Ohio State in a second,
mm-hmm.
but let's talk about Texas, right? They probably played the best game of the college football play so far, like most entertaining to watch. And I was against Arizona State. My goodness, the running back for Arizona State. I'm gonna mess up his name.
Scattaboo.
Scattaboo. Thank you. I was gonna say Scuba for a second. Scattaboo. Let me tell you, this kid's impressed me. Like just his play style, everything. I have to jump into the film a little bit more, but the little bit I've been watching about him, the kid's an athletic freak. It looks like he should test off the map at the combine for the rumors I've been hearing. But man, that dude runs hard. He's quick. He's got a burst to him, and he was single-handedly carrying that team. I mean, what about that pass too for a touchdown?
That was a beautiful pass,
right?
I mean, that was. When I saw the play, I missed the reverse to him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh wow, that was a good pass by the quarterback." And then they showed it again, and I was like, "Damn, Scattaboo's got a damn arm."
Well, I'll be honest.
He did underthrow the receiver a little bit, but I mean that receiver just recognized like, "Oh, hold on a second," and basically stopping. He stopped, got the defensive back to go around him, and then he just caught it and went in. That was beautiful.
It was a great adjustment. And look, just a hell of a game. Like at one point they were down 17 or like 14 at one point.
It was 24-8 at one point.
That's what it was. I went outside to let my dog out, and I'm literally texting my buddies, like talking about a bet. I had a parlay going. Unfortunately, the parlay didn't hit. Thanks Oregon. We'll get to you in a minute. But I had Arizona State 13.5 spread, and I was like, oh man, I guess this isn't going to be good. And I'm literally texting my buddy texting Corey actually, and he goes, man, that Arizona State bet's looking good though right now. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, are you not watching? I'm like, no, I just took the dog outside. He's like, dude, it changed quick. So in a span of like, I think real time, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If that, it went to a tie game, and I'm like, oh shit, I am locked in now. Goes to overtime. I mean, oh wait, I didn't even mention the Texas kicker misses twice. And I want to get your opinion.
And they brought up how good he was too. That's the best part.
He is a good kicker. Like he's been consistent. Yeah. But I want to get your opinion. Did you see Sark getting his not getting his face, but like trying to got face to face with him, was like trying to give him encouragement or smile and talk and everything like that?
Yeah.
So your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I like it as a coach. You try to get the kid loose and everything like that, especially after missing a kick. But there could be an argument made of being like, hey, just don't distract him, let him clear his head kind of thing. Where do you stand on that?
It just depends. It honestly depends on the player,
Very true.
There's a famous clip around these parts where it's the NFC Championship game in 2010, Saints and Vikings, and you see Sean Payton talking to Garrett Hartley about just kick the ball at the fleur-de-lis. That's all you need to do. And I think Jonathan Vilma says, I was about to run up to coach and being like, hey, shut up, leave him alone. Let him, he knows what to do. Just calm down. And, he happened to kick the ball that got us to the Super Bowl. But again, some players, they just, hey, just leave me alone. Let me get out of my own head and, let me do this myself. But still, that's a college kid. College kids tend to overthink things so much that's why these coaches are so hard on half of them. I'm okay with it. If it was me, depending on how bad everything was, I might sit there and say, oh, coach, talk to me, give me something. Maybe I just need a little boost in my confidence, or, just get me out of my funk. and he kind of probably told him a joke, whatever. We don't know the relationship that Sark and this kid have.
Yeah.
I mean, I was the type of player where it's like, you want to get me off of, remember it like something bad I did, just make me laugh. So that's what I would do.
No, I mean, like I said, there's arguments for like it was just an interesting discussion I saw from both sides of the aisle. But I mean, Texas ends up pulling out in the end. I mean, they get a 4th and 17 on a post pattern to a kid to oh my god, to basically extend the game to a second overtime. It was a good game. Arizona State just fell short. Hats off to them though, from going to be projected to be the worst team in your conference to winning it and then giving Texas a run for their money in the quarterfinals of the playoff. Great season for him. Scadaboo has made himself some money, definitely draft wise, and I cannot wait to dive deeper into that draft talk with him. But is there anything else you want to talk about this game?
Has he said he's coming out for the draft?
I'm sure. I want to say he's either a senior or I'll fact check that real quick.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, let's see.
He's a senior, so he's probably coming out. He's gonna be probably, if I had to put him anywhere, he might be a early second, just based off of the last couple months or last couple weeks. But
for
he's
running back,
he's gonna be a producing running back for whatever team he goes to. It doesn't matter where that dude gets drafted. He's gonna work his way onto an NFL roster, I think.
I can definitely see it. I wouldn't be shocked if he's the RB2 in this draft class. There's a few other guys like the kid from Iowa, Johnson, that I like, and Hampton from UNC. But I mean, he's definitely gonna be in the mix for sure of being the RB2 in this class. I really like him. He's one of those prospects that's gonna be hard to grade, being that his breakout was so late. But you gotta like what you've seen so far. But let's move right along to the. I mean, I guess this was a game. The absolute decimation of your number 1 seeded Oregon Ducks. I will say, I did not see this coming at all. I think the final score was 41-24 or something.
40. I just had the score up. 41-21.
41-21. Yeah.
Honestly, like, of all the games in this quarterfinal round,
that was the worst one.
It shows that maybe this first round bye isn't all that great. 3 of the 4 teams so far, because as of recording, the Sugar Bowl is about to kick off. 3 of the 4 teams have been first round teams. So who knows? Maybe next year they just say like, yeah, sure, go ahead, keep the conference champions as the number 1 through 4 seeds. I don't want to buy. If I'm a team that could get in at large bid, yeah, let them have that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to be that home team for that large game, though.
Absolutely. All the home teams in the first round won. So far, all the teams who played in that first round have won. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think, honestly, this Sugar Bowl that's about to start, that's going to be the one where that might be the outlier. Even with the quarterback questions that, again, we'll probably get to it in a second, that Georgia has, just because of everything that went on in the bye, like basically moving it another day, they get another day of rest. So, but yeah, that Rose Bowl game, that was awful.
Bro, it was 34-0 in the second quarter.
Yeah, once that happened, I'm like, they're going to need to do a lot. And, they kind of started getting the ball rolling to get that comeback to start, but I think they just took too much time to get that comeback happening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, basically, once Ohio State starts playing, just prevent defense. I mean, you're gonna go up and down the field, but I mean, it was over. That score was not that game was not as close as the score said.
Ohio State scored. They scored a touch. So Oregon scored the last possession of the first half. Got the 2-point conversion, and then they took almost 7 minutes to even get a touchdown. You can't have that if you're behind. You have to.
No,
you have to get through. You have to do it fast. It can't be, take your time.
No, exactly. No, I completely agree with you, buddy. Completely agree with you. They just ran out of time. I mean, Ohio State just shows that they had a bad taste in their mouth from losing the first matchup by 1. So, I mean, more power to them. They came out and showed their dominance. That's for sure. let's move on. Let's move on to the next game. There's really not a lot to talk about. I mean, Howard looked fantastic.
This recording basically is just to, hey, we noticed that the college football playoff is happening. We need to talk about it. It's a big thing. There just hasn't been a game to talk about. I mean,
not really.
Penn State took care of business against Boise. They tried to keep it close. They didn't get blown out, which is a good thing.
Now let me ask you about Boise though,
real
quick. Since you have the number 1 pick in our dynasty draft for rookie picks, did that game sour you on Genty at all?
A little bit. A little bit because he wasn't that strong. Basically it made his entire schedule look like it was against a junior college. I think
Oregon losing the way they did doesn't make them look that great.
Right. So I think that, let's see how he does in the combine and all that and the pro days, and maybe that'll help, but
I'm real interested to see how tall he measures in that. I'm very, very interested in that one. Because if he's smaller than 5'8", I don't know how you can, because he's listed at 5'9" now in college. I think there's a real possibility he comes in at 5'6", 5'7". And if he comes in at that height, it's going to be very hard to trust a full workload with him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's a great running back, great prospect, but I do agree with you. It does raise some red flags because Penn State does have a defensive line that's has some NFL talent on there. And it's a little discouraging when it took him that it was that much of a struggle for him to even get 100 yards rushing. So I want to get your opinion on that one. But like you said, it wasn't a blowout. It just wasn't a particularly good game.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
So the last one, the Sugar Bowl that is about to kick off momentarily. We have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going up against the Georgia Bulldogs, who are going to be without Carson Beck, who has a UCL injury in his elbow. Joey, who you got and why? It's essentially a pick, by the way.
I mean, you kind of want to go for you. I'm pulling for Georgia, but I can see Notre Dame winning it. Like you said, it's a pick 'em. I have the game on right now. They're showing basically what the Superdome is like at the moment. It could go either way. I do think that Georgia might pull it out. Mm-hmm. I think they might win by a field goal. I think they're going to play for. They have one of the victims of the attack was a Georgia student.
Yes.
So, I'm sure they're going to look at each other like, hey, let's play for him. He came here to come enjoy this game. He's not going to be able to come to the game because of that nonsense yesterday. Yeah. Let's play for him. And so they have typically when you have games like this, people to play for, it makes them a little more dangerous. However, like I said before, every team that has had the bye has lost. So
we'll see. I mean, we'll see if that theory holds up, right? We'll test that theory. Man, I don't know. So I don't have a lot of faith in Georgia's offense to produce anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Georgia in a very, very low-scoring game. But I'm going to go Georgia. I think talent wins out. But I don't feel confident about it at all.
That quarterback didn't do bad in the time that he played in the SEC championship game. So he could be,
you just don't know.
The guy that wins it. He could be. Who was the Ohio State quarterback that
Cardale Jones, baby?
He could be
Cardale Jones.
He could be the Cardale Jones of this playoff.
I knew you were going to say that. For some reason, I knew that's where you're going. That's where the name just popped in my head.
Yeah, it's like he could be that guy that just says, you know what, here I am. Be ready for me for the next 3 years.
Speaking of Cardale Jones, do you remember when he went on that little run after they lost their first two quarterbacks, and then he came in and played? He played for those 3 games, and they won the Big Ten championship, the 2 playoff games.
Big Ten championship. I think they were in the Sugar Bowl, and then they won the national championship game.
Do you remember that people were actually like, "Bro, you coming out in the draft? Like, you may be the number 1 pick." And I'm like,
"Yeah, like give him a couple years."
I mean, he ended up being a 4th-round pick, but still, I was like, "What the hell?" So, yeah, it was just funny. I want to talk about that. So to kind of put a bow on this college football playoff episode, I'm going to give you my pick to win it. Ohio State. I think Ohio State is just playing on a whole nother level right now. Texas has struggled. I don't think it's going to be particularly close, to be honest with you. So I have Ohio State advancing. I'm gonna say Penn State goes from the other bracket,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Penn State, Ohio State, and Ohio State wins the national championship. Where you at, Joey?
I'm gonna say I think Penn State's gonna lose the semifinal to whoever wins the Sugar Bowl.
Okay.
I feel like the game is big enough, but not too big for Texas right now, that they're going to pull it out. They're going to make it because they remember what happened last year in the Sugar Bowl, how they lost. They're gonna go on to High Scout. They're gonna go on to Texas is gonna go on to beat Ohio State, and then I think it's gonna be whoever wins it on this side of the bracket, of the Sugar Bowl side of the bracket, is gonna win the national championship.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's not. Look, I don't disagree with you at all. I think Georgia has a defense to carry him to a national championship, and then Notre Dame's so hard for me because
they're independent. They don't play anybody.
Thank you. So I don't know if they're a good team or not.
You can't get a read on them. Now they showed out against Indiana, which they did really well, and then we just got to wait on this game here.
And we'll see if Notre Dame puts up a good showing against the Georgia defense, can move the ball up and down the field, then I may change my tune. I just look, that defensive line for Penn State's got some studs on it.
I mean,
so I'm just thinking that will carry them.
Was the Northern Illinois game in Ireland?
Was it the first week of the season?
I think
or
so.
week 0, whatever week 0 was. Yeah, that's probably the Ireland game. Because
if that's the case, then they're undefeated in the States this year.
And look, it doesn't shock me, but I mean, hey, we'll see what happens. I like the pick though. I mean, I don't hate it. You can't go wrong with any of these guys. To be honest with you, the least confident team I have is Texas, and it's just because A, they should have lost that game to Arizona State, and B, there's just always a looming feeling that they're going to mess it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that game was here, by the way. That was at Notre Dame.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. But no, I think
I knew it was early on in the season. I just wasn't 100% sure.
I feel like the playoffs going to bring something different out of Georgia. I think they can take care of business. I'm not gonna give a full pick.
Okay.
I want Georgia to win it.
Yeah, I can't say SEC and be like, yeah, I want Texas to win.
I will say that. Yeah, I will say this though: if Notre Dame wins, then if you're Texas, you have to prove that you belong in the SEC, and if you want to prove you belong, go win a natty. Because I'm going to tell you right now.
Could you imagine if they win it the first year, the amount of crap we're going to hear?
Well, can I just say this? If Texas does win, then they would have one more national championship than LSU. But right now, they have the same number as LSU.
Good. Keep it that way.
Yeah, right? But no, like, honestly, like, if you're a Texas fan, and I'm like, trust me, I'm not a fan of Texas by any means.
He is not. He is not. I can attest for that.
I fully believe that when they had the rule about if you do horns down, that it should be a penalty. I thought that was kind of a bitch move. This is the SEC. This is the SEC. Stop getting 100%. Offended. I did horns down in front of the stadium when we went to Texas last summer. But I'm being fair and in the middle. If you're Texas, you have to win this game. You have to win this championship if you're the only SEC team left.
It's look, and this is going to go a long way to Sark basically finishing his redemption arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't wish the ill will in the guy. I just go by he has not won the big game yet, or I guess the biggest games yet. So we'll see what happens. I mean, every team's good at this point now, but it's going to be a fun ride, and I can't wait to see how the Sugar Bowl shakes out.
Damn right.
Yes, sir. Joey, is there anything else you want to touch on our kind of abbreviated episode today?
Just enjoy the Sugar Bowl if you're watching this or if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it. If you have, I hope it was a good one, and can't wait for the next round. All
right, Joseph. But if it's okay with you, buddy, I'm going to take the stage and kind of wrap the show up since you started us off.
Sure.
That's cool with you, my friend.
I'll jump back.
All right. So I'm just going to leave y'all with this. kind of talk about the terrorist attacks again. We're going to bookend it here. From the Noble Steady sort of sports talk family and everything else that's involved with our channel, our deepest condolences go out again. And just in general, if there's somebody out there that you haven't spoken to in a while and that you want to be a part of their lives, just reach out, talk to them. You just don't know by the time you have left with your people. It's a short ride we got here, so we got to be with the people we love and enjoy the ride while we can and not let this evil bring us down. So from all of us at the Noble Steady sort of sports talk, we wish y'all a very happy new year and that everything kind of settles down and we get some more positives moving forward. With that being said, keep rocking out and we'll be with you next time. Until then, peace.